Good morning, soldiers. I hope everyone is fine and alert at the battlefront. Now, you must be wondering why I'm calling you soldiers today. There are two reasons for that. The first one is that all of us have waged a war against the coronavirus. Although we are not at the borders, but we are fighting a defensive war from our home front. So, you people have got a chance to literally fight a battle against this worldwide enemy. So, am I wrong in calling you soldiers? Yes, no. Now, the second reason is that I am going to take you out today. Yes, out. Can't believe that? I'm going to take you down the memory lane years back in 1942 when India was fighting its struggle for freedom. Gandhiji had launched the Quit India movement in 1942. The freedom struggle had gained momentum. Almost every Indian was part of that struggle now. Even children were not left behind. So, let's go to see a procession which was taken out by the college students. So, keep your book ready with you, with Unit 2 opened, and the name of the chapter is The Narayanpur Incident. Now, this town of Narayanpur was a very small town, and that time in 1942, the freedom struggle had gained momentum. That means it was very active, it was very fast. Every part of India was involved in it, every Indian was involved, whether he was old or young or even children were not left behind. In one way or the other, everyone was taking a part in it. And this chapter talks about that small town. So, how that freedom struggle was taking place in that small town of Narayanpur. Now, it's a very simple chapter and it just discusses about a procession which was taken out by some college students to declare its war against the Britishers. And it describes a small family, how that family gets involved. Every member of that family gets involved and play its own role in that freedom struggle. Now, when we begin the reading, I'll just start with the introduction. 8th August 1942, the Quit India movement begins. Babu and Manju suddenly find themselves part of all this when their schools close down and their father is put behind bars. Put behind bars means he was sent to prison. Many Indians who used to take part in this freedom struggle was put behind the bars during that time. And their brother Mohan becomes involved in the movement. So most probably elder brother Mohan, and he also becomes part of that movement, and the rest of the family moves to the small town of Narayanpur. But now Mohan has turned up in Narayanpur with his friend Suman. So Mohan comes back to Narayanpur with his friend Suman, and the Quit India movement has gained momentum. It has become very active. Babu decides to watch a procession that Mohan is taking part in. So Babu is taking part, wants to see that procession in which Mohan is taking part, and takes Manju with him. So he takes his sister along, Manju. Their mother does not know about their plans, so the children leave the key to their house with their neighbor Ramabai. Now read on to find out what happens. So both the brother sister Babu and Manju, they go out without informing their mother to see the procession and what kind it is, and their mother does not know about it. So let's start with the reading. Now, said Manju impatiently. Tell me, where are we going? So Manju does not know about it and she asks Babu that please tell me where are we going? To watch a procession. Walk fast, we may be late. So just Babu tells her that we are going to watch a procession. You all know what is a procession. It's very common in Indian scenario. Very often we see processions going out for during religious festivals. So it's a group of people going out together for a common purpose, usually for religious. So, what procession? Whose procession? Where? So, she has so many questions. She's so inquisitive about it. You sound just like Ramabai, said Babu. Did she give you a quick lesson? So, when Manju asks so many questions what, where, why, so Babu just shuts her up and he says, you are sounding like Ramabai. Maybe Ramabai is also like that. She also is very inquisitive and asks so many questions. So he says, did she give you a quick lesson? Did she teach you something? Oh, be quiet about Ramabai. Tell me, Babu, what procession? Again, she wants to know about the procession. So ultimately, Babu tells her the college students are taking out a procession from their college to the collector's office. Mohan told me we could watch. He says it's going to be peaceful. So Mohan, he's a very protective brother and he tells his younger brother and sister that they can watch this procession as it is going to be peaceful. So it was pre-decided that this procession is not going to be violent in any way. So Mohan knows it's going to be peaceful, so he tells his brother and sister that they could go and see that procession. There were already some people lining the roads. So some people, they had already gathered there to see the procession. Manju and Babu found a good spot almost opposite the gate of the collector's compound. So Manju and Babu, they both found a very good place to stand from where they could see easily. And they had to wait for some time. Soon, they heard the magical words. They are coming, they are coming. So suddenly, they could hear those magical words. They are coming, they are coming. Now, why is the writer calling these words as magical words? Because both the children were very inquisitive and very curious to know what it is going to be like. So it was sort of a magic for them. What is going to happen? They did not know anything about it. So that is why the writer calls these words, they are coming, magical words. So the magic is going to be unfurled now. What is going to happen? Who's going to come? What are they going to do? How are they going to look like? So it's going to be a magic unfurled. The children, like the others, rushed out. So everybody moved in front to have a better view. Policemen appeared all along the road. So the police was already lining the road. They were all along. Some of them walked in front of the students, some by their sides. So the policemen, some were walking in front of the procession, some by the sides. But the students marched as if the police did not exist. So the college students who were taking out procession, they were walking as if the police did not exist. They were not bothered about the existence of the police or the police was walking along them, or they were oblivious to the presence of the police around them. They were just devoted to their cause. So maybe they were pre-decided that it's going to be a peaceful, they're not going to involve in anything violent, so that is why they just kept walking very quietly. They walked in complete silence. There were no slogans, no shouts, just the shuffle of feet. So just the sound of the walking feet, and a low murmur from the watching crowd. So only the shuffle of the feet could be heard and a soft murmur. Soft murmur means a soft talk from the people who were watching that procession. So maybe they were just talking very softly about the procession. Babu and Manju looked eagerly for Mohan. So obviously, Babu and Manju, they were looking for their brother where he was in that procession, and ultimately they got him. Yes, there he was, dressed in white pajamas and a cream-colored kurta. with another boy, both holding aloft a picture of Mahatma. So at last they were able to spot him out, and he was walking along with another boy, and both of them, they were holding aloft. Holding aloft means at a height. So they were holding high the picture of Mahatma Gandhi. Their arms must have ached, holding it up the way for so long, but their faces were expressionless. That means the arms of the students who were carrying those pictures of Gandhiji and other slogans, they must be aching because they had been carrying those for long and holding them high. But their faces did not show any expression of pain or tiredness. Now, the leaders of the procession had reached the barred gates. Now they reached the gates of the place where the collector's office was, and the gates, they were barred. That means some blocks, they had been placed there to prevent the entry. A police officer, he was the DSP, Mohan told them later, came up to them. So, when they reached there, a police officer who was a DSP, and this was told to Babu and Manju by Mohan when he came back home. So, he came up to the leaders of that procession and they started talking. There was some conversation between him and the students. The students seemed to be arguing. So the students, they started arguing, they started talking, they wanted to say something, but he was not ready to, or he was not agreeing to their demands. So the students, they were arguing with him. So at last, then one of them handed him a piece of paper. Now it could be that these students, they wanted to meet the collector and talk to him, but the police officer did not allow them. So at last they found out a way. So they wrote their demands or whatever they wanted to talk to the collector. They wrote it on a piece of paper. He took it without glancing at it. So that DSP, he took that paper from them and he did not even look at that paper. He did not even glance at that paper and he just nodded. The students turned their backs to him. So then, after handing over that paper, they turned their back to him and one of them shouted, Mahatma Gandhi ki Jai. So they spoke that slogan. Jai, the others shouted back loudly, and then they briskly marched back the way they had come. And then they briskly started walking back the way they had come. Is that all? Asked Manju in disappointment. Now, Manju, she was a little disappointed when she saw all this and she said, Is that all? So maybe she was expecting some drama, something more to happen. So when nothing happened, she was a little disappointed. What else did you want? A dance? A drama? Babu asked scornfully. So Babu was a little angry at her expression. So he said, So what else were you expecting? Were you expecting some kind of a dance or drama or shouting or slogans or beating up, something like that? Maybe because Manju had heard of all this kind of things related to the freedom struggle. So that is why she was expecting something of that sort. But he understood her feeling and asked Mohan the same question when he returned home. So he also understood that because the freedom struggle was related to all these kinds of things. So he understood her feelings. And he asked the same question to Mohan when he returned home. Why did you go back so quietly? And were you scared of what the police would do? So he asked him, why did you go back? Why didn't you do something when the police did not agree to what you were saying? Why didn't you retort back? Or why didn't you protest? Or why didn't you do? And were you scared of the police would do? So Mohan seemed immensely pleased with himself. But Mohan was the satisfied one. So he was very happy with whatever had happened that day. Scared? We had planned it this way. So he said, no, we were not scared. Actually, we had planned this protest or this procession in this way only. We knew they expected us to protest and be violent. So he says, that we knew that that policemen and those Britishers, they were expecting us to protest and be violent. Oh yes, they wanted us to do that so that they could beat us up, haul us away to jail. So he says, yes, they were expecting some sort of protest and some sort of violence so that they could get a chance to beat them up and haul them to the jail or take them to the jail. But we are not prepared to go to jail. So he said, no, we were not prepared to go to the jail today or that very day. So we had planned it like that only. It had to be a peaceful one because it was planned like that. What was the point then? Babu asked, while Manju listened earnestly. So then Babu asked, okay, then what was the point of taking out this procession when you did not do anything? So, and Manju was listening to all this very earnestly, very eagerly. It's like a declaration of war. We told them, now this is war, and for us, you are the enemy. So he said it was like a declaration of war. We had gone there to tell them, to declare that now we are at war with you people. And this is our beginning of the war, and you are the one who's our enemy. And what was that paper you gave the policeman? So now Babu asked, what was written on that paper? That was a notice we served on the collector as a representative of His Majesty's government, asking them to quit India or face the consequences. So he says it was a sort of a notice, and in that notice, we had written to the collector because he is the representative of that British government. So he says we had served them a notice that now we are at war with you. Now you should quit India. Quit India means you should leave India, or you will have to face the consequences, or you'll have to face the result, the consequences, or you remember, you'll have to face the music. It means the same. Suman and another boy turned up after they had finished their dinner that night. So that night, when the day was over, all that activity was over, and after they had done with the dinner, Suman, along with another boy, they came up to their house. The boy staggered in with large newspaper covered parcel in his hands. Now that boy who came along with Suman, he was staggering. He was not walking properly. The reason being because he was carrying a heavy article which was wrapped in a newspaper. So the boy was not able to walk properly, and that is called as staggered. Here, let me help you, said Mohan. Now, Mohan, maybe he was ready for this. That means he knew that Suman and another boy, they're going to come and they are going to carry something. So he says, let me help you. My room, okay, Amma? Now he asks his mother that my room will be okay. Now that means Amma, their mother, is also involved in this. That means mother also knew that somebody is going to come and that there'll be something which needs to be kept in their house. So Mohan asked, my room, okay, Amma? No, I think the puja room is better. A light there will look more normal. So she suggests that no, in place of that, a puja room will be better, because if we keep on switch the light on all the time, or the light is there on all the time, it will look normal, because usually, we keep the light on in the temples or the puja room which we have at our places. So she suggested that I think we should keep this in the puja room. Right as usual, Amma. The puja room then. So Mohan quickly agreed to what his mother said. He says, right as usual. That means, otherwise, earlier also, he used to take suggestions or from his mother, and they were always correct. So he says, right as usual, Amma, and the puja room then. So they keep that thing in the puja room. So the boy went away after a whispered conversation with Suman. So after keeping that article and conversing with Suman, that boy who had come along, he went away. Then Suman, Amma, and Mohan went into the small puja room. So all three of them, they went into the puja room. Babu and Manju stared curiously over their shoulders at the mysterious parcel, which turned out to be a cyclo-styling machine. Now that parcel contained a cyclo-styling machine. Cyclo-styling machine, so sort of a photocopier which we get photocopies from. So it was a cyclo-styling machine. And Babu and Manju, they were looking at that thing curiously, as they were not inside the room, so they were looking over their shoulders, whatever they could see from their backs, from over their shoulders. So they were looking at that mysterious looking parcel, which turned out to be a cyclo-styling machine. Babu said, Mohan, as they settled down to work, sit out in the front room and keep a watch. So Mohan, he gave an instruction to Babu. He said, you go out and sit in the front room and keep a watch so that nobody comes over, and give us a warning if anyone seems to be coming to our house. And he also instructed that if somebody comes, please tell us, warn us. Manju, go to bed. And he says, Manju, you go to bed. Or else, he went on noticing her crestfallen face. So when Mohan told Manju to go to bed, she was feeling sad. She felt bad because she also wanted to be a part of all this activity. So her face was crestfallen, a sad, long drawn face. And then when Mohan noticed her sad face, so he changed. He said, okay, okay, you also sit here in the hall and pass on Babu's warning to us, and you be the second one to warn us. So whatever Babu will tell you, you pass it on to us. So both of the little children, they were involved in that activity of freedom struggle, something related to freedom struggle that was going on in the house. Amma, Suman and Mohan got to work at once, and they started working on that cyclo-styling machine. Manju peered at them from the hall. So Manju was trying to look into that room, peep into that room, peered into that room from that hall only. In a little while, she began to feel drowsy. So she started feeling sleepy after some time and had to struggle not to doze off. Doze off means feel sleepy. So she had to struggle, she had to make effort to keep herself awake and try not to sleep. Babu sat outside, alert and attentive. So, Babu was doing his duty very alert and very attentive, and he was very watchful. He felt a thickening in his throat. Now he started feeling a little emotional and excited about whatever he was doing. He felt a thickening means he was feeling excited and emotional. Like in Hindi also, we say, "Mera gala bhar aaya," when we say when we are talking about or doing something emotional. So he started feeling excited as well as emotional. It was beginning. It was just a starting, and at last he was doing something. So why he was feeling emotional? Because he felt he was taking part in freedom struggle. He was also part of the freedom struggle now. He was doing one of the duties there. So at last he was doing something. Suddenly he tensed, but all of a sudden something happened and he got tensed. A man riding a bike stopped right outside their gate. So he saw somebody outside their gate. A man had come on a bike and he stopped there. Yes, he was getting off. He was opening their gate. Babu flung himself inside. So he saw the man stop, and yes, he got off the bike also, and then he opened the gate also. Babu was very clear he was coming to their house, and he flung himself inside. He threw himself, literally threw himself inside. He ran inside quickly to inform. Manju turned a startled face to him. So when Manju saw Babu coming in so fast and shocked, so she was startled. And someone coming in, and yeah, she asked, someone's coming in. And there was silence. After Babu told that someone's coming in, there was silence. From inside the puja room, three faces looked at him. So the three faces inside the puja room, Amma, Mohan and Suman, they looked at him. Now they also got a little shock. Then Amma got up and came out, followed by Mohan. Amma and Mohan, they both came out. Suman stayed inside and Mohan closed the door of the room. So Suman was all inside only and Mohan closed the door of the room. Manju, go to bed, Babu, you too. And quickly decisions were taken. Manju and Babu, they were quickly instructed to go to bed. So things should sound very normal because it was night, so everybody must be in, especially the children must be in bed. So to make things look normal, the children were instructed to go to bed. There was a knock on the door. Babu rushed to his room, unrolled his bedroll and threw himself on it. So then there was a knock, and by that time Babu quickly rushed to his room. He unrolled his bedroll, the bed which he has rolled up, and now he unrolled it so that he threw himself on it and quickly just stretched himself on it. Who's there? Amma called. So although Amma knew that somebody is there and somebody is coming, but still, just to look normal, she just called out loudly, who's there? Mohan, go and see who it is. So another show, just to sound normal, so she tells loudly, Mohan, you go and see who's this outside the door. So Manju, who had got into her bed too, noticed that though Amma's voice was steady, her hands trembled. So by this time Manju had also gone into her bed. She noticed that although Amma's sound was sounding steady, constant, balanced, but her hands, they were trembling. So all of them, they were a little tense that who could it be, because the environment that time was like that only, and moreover now they were doing something for the freedom struggle. So they expected that something could be there. Mohan came in saying, Amma, it's Patil, the sub-inspector. So by that time, Mohan had gone out to see, and he came back in and he told loudly that Amma, it's Patil, the sub-inspector. So there was police outside. I haven't come to trouble you, a strange voice said. So this is the voice of Mr. Patil, the police inspector. He says, I haven't come to trouble you. Your husband was my friend in school. I am a friend. So this Patil, he's an Indian, as the name suggests, but he was in police. That means he was working for the British government. And he also understood that maybe those people, if a police comes to somebody's house, naturally somebody will anyone can get tense. So he just tried to calm them down. He said, no, I haven't come to trouble you. I am your husband's friend. We were both friends in the school and I am a friend only. So he just tries to calm them down. Amma got up quickly and went out. So Amma went out to talk to him. Manju waited a moment and followed her. So by that time, Manju, she also got up and she followed her. There was Babu coming out of his room. Babu also woke up and making a show of having woken up out of deep sleep. And he was showing as if he had woken up from a very deep sleep, and he was trying to show off that he'd been sleeping for a long time. So look at how intelligent these children were. So the man was saying to Amma, yes, we were in school together. Oh, he was. And he was just telling them, Amma, that we were friends at school, and he was. And then he was stopped by Amma. We know that at this time, Amma was a little tensed. So she could not bear all that talk, and she just interrupts and she says, please, Patil Sahib, said Amma rather impatiently. She was getting impatient. Tell me, why are you here? So why, tell me, please straight away come to the point and tell us, why have you come here? It's like this. And then he comes to the point. He tells, let me tell you, there's going to be a search of your house. And he tells everything. He says, there's going to be a search of your house. The authorities, the police people, they are going to search your house today. When? Most probably tonight. So he say, when they ask when, so he says, most probably tonight only. I heard the sahibs talking. And he says, how did I come to know? I heard the sahibs, my senior officers talking. They were speaking of a cyclo-styling machine. Now, maybe those people, they might have got some information from somebody that there's a cyclo-styling machine in their house. So, they are going to search your house. It seems you people are making copies of the Mahatma's speech. So he tells that maybe you people have a cyclo-styling machine and you are making the copies of the Mahatma's speech. At that time, there were no means of communication, very rare. Like radio, maybe radio was there, and so this is the way they used to spread the word, and they used to tell everyone this is what Mahatma Gandhi is saying. And these days we have mobiles, we have TVs. In a second, the word spreads around, and we know what's happening in China right now, what's the situation going on in America. But those days it wasn't possible, and if people had to be joined into one union, so things had to be told to them. So they were actually making copies of the Mahatma Gandhi speech through that cyclo-styling machine, so that they could distribute it to people, and the people could get to know what is happening in the country, and they should also get united in that. They say you have people hiding here as well. So that means they have got information that you've got some people also hiding here as well. Ha! Mohan scoffed. So Mohan was a little angry, and he just laughed at what Mr. Patil said. He showed an expression that does not bother them. But you have the cyclo-styling machine. So he asks them that, do you have the cyclo-styling machine? No, said Mohan angrily. You're wasting your time spying on us. So Mohan straight away he says, no, you are just wasting your time spying around on us. We don't have any kind. He doesn't want to tell the truth because he feels that he's a police and he is working for the British, so he's come for that only. So he does not want to tell the truth to. Good morning, children. So, in today's lesson, we are going to continue with the chapter which we had been doing earlier, that is the Narayanpur Incident. Now, let us quickly recall the story which we were doing. Babu and Manju, they had gone to see a procession in which their elder brother Mohan was taking part. And later on, there was a cyclo-styling machine which was brought to their house, and that was brought because they had to make copies of Mahatma Gandhi's speech. And then the police somehow comes to know that about that cyclo-styling machine. So later on, Mr. Patil, who is in police, and by chance who is also a friend of Mohan's father. He comes to their house to inform them that there will be a search in their house because of that cyclostyling machine. So because he is also an Indian, so he had come to warn them, alert them so that they could hide. And he offers them that he would take the cyclostyling machine away for a while so that it is not caught by the Britishers. Mr. Patil, if you remember the name. So we'll start reading from page 18 today. I hope you have the book with you. Yes, okay. So tell me, the man ignored Mohan and spoke to Amma. So if you remember, Mr. Patil had come to ask about the cyclostyling machine, and Mohan did not tell him. Mohan was not ready to tell the truth, and he had just said that no, we did not have. So the man ignored Mohan, and he spoke to Amma this time. He wanted to know the truth. Yes, Amma replied simply, and Mohan made an angry hissing sound. So this time, Amma, she told that yes, they had. And Mohan was again very angry, and he just made a hissing sound to show his anger because he did not want to tell the truth. So, where is it? Inside. Give it to me. I'll get it out of the way. So, Mr. Patil, he tells them that you give that machine to me, I'll get it out of the way. So he says, I'll take it away so that when the police comes for the search, they don't get it. Mohan burst out again. Amma, what are you doing? How can you trust a policeman? So Mohan does not believe him. You know, he's young blood, he has a lot of anger inside. So we can say he's not that experienced. He does not have that much of experience of life. That is why he does not believe a friend who had come. So he says, what are you doing, Amma? Why have you told him about the truth? And how can you trust a policeman? He believes that he is also a policeman. The man touched Mohan on the shoulder. So, although in front of his face only, Mohan is again and again telling Amma not to trust him, but still the man is not angry at all. So this shows he's a wise man. So he touched Mohan on his shoulder, a sort of pat on his shoulder. Mohan, you are still very young. I am a policeman, yes, but your father was and still is my friend. And this is my country as much as it is yours. Now, give it to me quickly. So he makes him understand that Mohan, I can very well understand that you are very young, so you don't believe in what I am saying. And I also agree that I am a policeman. But along with that, I am your father's friend also. And moreover, this country is mine also, as much as it is yours. So he says, I also love my country and I also want to see my country free. And I understand why you people are all doing this. I want to be part of it. So in a way, he's also taking part in this freedom struggle. So he tells that give it to me. Amma opened the door of the puja room and said, Suman. So Amma, she believes, she understands what he's saying, and she goes inside and calls out Suman out of the puja room. Now Suman emerged, looking anxiously at them. So Suman came out, emerged means came out, and she was looking very worried that what is happening. Amma smiled at her and said, you have to get away. Take away all the material, Mohan, will you? So Amma just smiled at Suman to convey that everything was fine. She need not worry. And then she says, you please get aside. And then she instructs Mohan that, okay, take away all the material. Mohan, will you? Mohan ducked into the puja room. So he just bent. Maybe the room was a very small one with very low doors. So he had to duck in. Like ducks, they take their neck down when they go into the water. So Mohan ducked into the puja room and lugged the machine out. And he dragged the machine. Lug means because it was very heavy. So he had to sort of drag it out. So he lugged the machine out and gave it to Patil. Do you have a largish bag? The man asked. So he asked for a big bag. Largish means big, a huge one, sort of a sack. Manju, Amma began, but Babu had already got it. So Amma just called out to Manju to get one largish bag. But by the time, Babu had already brought it. So see how actively the children were also involved in everything which was taking place in the house. So when the machine was being taken out, maybe Babu already knew that they'll need it. So he already had it. And then they were gone. Patil, Mohan and Suman. So all three of them, they took the machine out and they went away somewhere, maybe to some other place to hide that machine. The house seemed unbelievably quiet after the earlier activity. Now, before this, there had been so much of activity going on in the house. Like the machine was brought, it was decided where it was to be kept, then they started making copies, then Mr. Patil came, then they had a lot of discussion about it, and so there was a lot of activity going on in the house. And now that everybody was gone, so it was unbelievably quiet. Let's go to bed, Amma suggested. So Amma tells the children, Babu and Manju, that okay, let us go to bed. Mohan came back shortly. So after a short while, Mohan came back. Suman. Manju asked him anxiously. So worriedly, Manju asked Mohan, where is Suman? She's all right. So Mohan tells that she's okay. Maybe she has stayed there with the machine. Go to bed, Manju, Amma said. So Amma again instructed her to go to bed. Bed? With the police about to come? It was impossible. So they all knew that the police was about to come to search their house. So when they already knew all this, so how was it possible to go on into the bed and sleep also? Because they were already very anxious about the things which were going to happen. They were waiting for them. But nevertheless, she did drop off. Anyhow, now they could not be awake all the time waiting for the police to come, so she did drop off. She did sleep and came out of her sleep when to hear a loud knock at the door. So she was awake. She came out of her sleep when she heard a loud knock at the door, and it was repeated again. Who is it? Amma called. So again Amma called out to ask, who's it? Open the door, a strange voice ordered. So there was some strange voice from outside, and they ordered them to open the door. Mohan, see who's it, said Amma. So again, it was sort of things were repeated now. So Amma again instructed Mohan. So she calls out loudly to Mohan, Mohan, go and see who's it. It was like going through something all over again. So as I just told, that they were going through the same things again. As earlier also, when Mr. Patil had come, he had knocked the door, and before that they already knew that there was Mr. Patil, the police, and so they just to show off. So Amma had called out to Mohan, Mohan, go and see. Mohan had gone out, and from outside only loudly had told Amma that it was police. So the things were repeated again. Amma called out to Mohan, Mohan, go and see who is it. And then Mohan goes out. But this time they knew for sure that it wasn't a friend standing outside. But there was one difference. Earlier they knew that there was a person, the person who had come was a friend. He had come to help them. But this time they knew it, that it was not a friend outside, it was the police who had come to search their house. So, no need for Mohan to announce, Amma, it's the police. Although Mohan went out and from outside only he told loudly that Amma, it's the police. But Amma already knew this. So there was no need for Mohan to announce. So then why did Mohan announce? Because it had to be done. Because they had to tell the police that they had to show off to the police that they did not know about their coming. So they had to behave normal, no? So that is why Mohan called out loudly from outside to tell Amma that it was the police. So here we end this little chapter. Not a little one, but it was a long one, anyhow. But the story is a very simple one. So we have just come to know how each and every Indian was involved in the struggle for freedom.